Welcome. For those of you that don't know me, I am Brianna Beers, owner of Lipa Beers and Associates. And if you're watching this on any platform other than my Money, Taxes, and Finance for Small Business Facebook group, go join that group. It's awesome. It's just a small community full of supportive small business owners. And it is the first place where I will post updates or advice on anything tax and accounting related right now. That's obviously anything COVID-19, CARES Act, PPP loans, all that jazz. That's the best place to find the most updated news and stuff. That's not a proper word, but whatever. At Lipa Beers and Associates, at the firm, tax firm I own, we do tax planning and tax prep for small business for small businesses and their owners. And tax prep is we help you guys prepare your tax returns. We also do tax planning, which is my jam. It's my favorite thing to do because I get to help my clients figure out how to save money, decrease their tax liability and free up some cash to invest back into their business or into themselves. And that is my favorite part of my job, other than being here and teaching you guys. So thank you for joining me, and let's get going. So today is part 5 of our new business series. And today we're going to talk about creating a business plan. And remember how we've been going through this, and I keep saying every week, even if you're not a new business owner, there's going to be something for you to pick up on and learn. Today is 100% that day, because I know that very few of you out there, based on my conversations with you guys and just based on my knowledge of small business owners, actually have a business plan in place for your business. So we're going to talk about what a business plan is, why it's important, why you need one, and how to build one today. And so it wasn't a very good day for me to be late, because this is definitely a 30-minute plus training today. So let's start with, what is a business plan? So you guys, basically a business plan is your way of showing, it's your plan to make your business profitable. All right. And we'll go over all the different pieces of it, but basically it's a document that you can hand to someone and say, this is my plan to make money in my business. This is how my business operates. This is my plan to grow my business and make lots of money in the future. Okay. Most of the time, so many businesses, not most of the time, but I know that there are so many businesses and business owners who don't put a business plan in unless it's required. And lots of times it's required. So if you want to secure a loan of some sort, or sometimes you need a business plan to attach to receive investment capital or business capital, your investors or your lenders will require a business plan. And then we're gonna talk you guys about a traditional business plan versus a lean startup plan. Okay, so traditional is very detailed. This is likely the type that's going to be required for those lenders and investors that are requesting this document. But there's also a thing called a lean startup plan. And this is more of a high level, faster to prepare, and just contains the key elements of your business. And the lean startup plan is a great place to start if you don't already have a business plan in place for your business. So who needs a business plan? So again, you're going to be requested, likely if you're getting a loan or you're looking for investors, they're going to require a business plan be put in place. So if you're looking for any sort of outside capital, outside, loans, investors, partners, anything like that, they're going to require or at least request a business plan in place. But we really suggest that every single business owner have a business plan. And we're going to talk about it. And as we talk about what exactly it is, it's going to make sense why we're suggesting, or why I suggest to everybody, that a business plan is a document that your company has created and has in place. Because essentially, you guys, this business plan is your roadmap. Okay, it's your roadmap to building a profitable business. So many personal development and business development coaches give the example of a roadmap. And knowing where you're going, right? You know where you are. Well, you need to know where you are, right? So you need to know where you are in this current environment. Where's your business right now? But when you're talking about a roadmap in the comparison that we're going to talk about, we think about, okay, you need to know where you're going, right? What is your goal? Where is your end game? And then you need to know how to get there. So lots of us know where we're going, right? Meaning we know what our goals are. We know how big we want to grow the company. We know how much we want to make in revenue. We know how much we want to pay ourselves. We have these end game goals, but we have no idea how to get there. Okay, so that is what a business plan does. It creates your roadmap to get from where you are to where you want to be. So it gets you from where your business is to where your goals for your business are. So the next thing we want to talk about is, why do you need a business plan? Well, we just explained that, right? So the who was every single business owner needs one, and the why is because it creates that roadmap to reach your goals, to build the business to the size and how you envision your business eventually getting to, right? That level. All right, so now we're going to talk about the how. The how is always, the most fun, right? So you're going to get a lot of links today. So this first one, you guys, is there you go, how to write a business plan. It's from the SBA website. All right. And they talk about, and anywhere you go and you learn and you use any place on the internet, here we go, that you use as a source or a resource to build your business plan is going to talk about two different types of business plan. There's a traditional business plan, and there's what we call the lean startup business plan. So I'm going to start, I'm not going to go too deep, but I am going to talk about the traditional business plan first. So the traditional business plan is going to have 8 sections. And honestly, I really only advise that you do a traditional business plan if you're being required to do it, right? If your loan officer or your financing investment partners or investors are requesting it. All right. And the reason being, for me, this is a big undertaking. A traditional business plan, I had to do one when I took out an SBA loan when I started my business. And even with the template, and my loan officer walked me through it, he just kind of pulled things, information from me. It still took me a really, really long time to make this. And I don't want you guys to get discouraged and not do it at all. Right. And so biting off this traditional business plan, this big thing, the chances are you're going to jump in, you're going to look at everything that's involved, and you're going to be like, yep, this is too much. I don't need this. All right. But I do want to go through the parts of it in case it's something you do need to do. Another option being that once you know what a traditional business plan is, and then we talk about the lean business plan, maybe you want to let a little bit of a hybrid, right? So this gives you the idea of what the traditional business plan entails. Okay. So there's 8 parts. So first is the executive summary. And this is what your company is and why it's going to be successful. It's your mission statement, and it includes your products and services and basic info about your leadership team, your employees, your location, your financial information, and your high-level growth plans. So in a traditional business plan, this executive summary comes first, but it should actually be the last thing you write, because right now, until you dig into these other sections, you don't know a lot of that information yet. All right, so the executive summary is number 1. The second section is your company description. So what problem does your business solve, right? Be specific, because the more specific you are, the more unique your business, it looks, right? So you're going to talk about your customers, you're going to organize the organization of your business and who your company plans to serve. Okay. You're also in this section going to talk about your competitive advantages that are going to make your business succeed. Do you have experts on your team? Do you have the perfect location in a store? Okay, this is where you're going to boast about your strengths. What does your business have that maybe other businesses don't? So the third part is your market analysis. We may not do a market analysis, but we all kind of know what it is, right? It's like, what are other businesses doing? What are your competitors' strengths? What are you competing with, right? So what do your competitors do that make them successful? Why does it work? Can you do that same thing but do it better? Okay, in your market analysis, you're going to look for trends and themes in your industry through your market research. So you're going to figure out what makes your competitors successful, and you're going to answer why they're successful. Are you going to do that same thing? Are you going to do it but better? Okay, so you're going to look at your competition. Next section is your organization and management. How will your company be structured? Okay, who's going to run your company? You're going to start with your legal structure, and we've talked about that, right? Are you an LLC? Are you a corporation? What is your legal structure of your business? And then you're going to have an organizational chart. So an organizational chart, you guys, is every position in your business and what that position does, a brief description, and who does it. Okay, if you're on your own, this sometimes seems silly. You're like, well, I'm the only person here. Doesn't matter. I still want an organizational chart, or you should still include an organizational chart of all the different positions. And yeah, your name's going to be in all of those right now. But eventually, as you grow and you become more successful and you build your business into a company, other people's names will fill those boxes. Okay, so an organizational chart, you guys, is, okay, here's CEO, and your CEO oversees maybe your COO, your operations officer, your financial officer, and your marketing officer, right? Just an example. This is obviously, so, and then each of those divisions, right, has people that work under those all the way down to, like your CFO, your financial officer, way at the bottom, a few layers down might have your accounts payable clerk and your accounts receivable clerk. Okay, so you want to build an organizational chart of what does your ideal business look like? How does it run? And again, right now, your name might be in every single one of those boxes, all right? And it probably will be unless you have a team. Okay, but that's fine. You still need to have an organizational chart of how your business is structured. So the next section of a traditional business plan is your service or product line. What is it that you sell? So explain why your customer benefits from your product or service. What does a product life cycle look like? And if you have intellectual property, you guys, like copyrights, patent filings, that's going to be included in this part. And any research and development would also go here. All right, we got 3 more sections. The next part is your marketing and sales. How are you going to attract customers and how are you going to retain them? And how will sales actually happen? You can say, I prepare tax returns, right? But how does a sale of a tax return, what does that look like, right? So that's going to be in your marketing and sales section. So the next is going to be your funding request. If that's why you're doing this traditional business plan, this is a required part of those of you asking for loans or investments. And then the last part, and this is usually the most important to your investors or your loan lenders, that's the word I'm looking for, is your financial projections. So this section must show that your business will be a financial success. So if you're an established business, because we've talked about this, right? Business plans are not just for new businesses. So if you're an established business, include your actual financials for the last 3 to 5 years, right? Your income statements, your balance sheet, and your cash flow. Provide a prospective financial outlook as well for the next 5 years. You're going to include forecasted income statements, your balance sheets, your forecasted cash flow statements, and capital expenditure budgets. Capital expenditures are your big purchases, all right? And if for the first year of your projections, you're going to use more specific periods, quarterly or even monthly. And then for the following years, just an annual is good. And you guys, this is the toughest and honestly the most daunting section, and it's going to take the most time and energy. And if you make it through all the other sections, this is the section that is most likely to get you to be like, I quit. I can't do this. I'm done. But push through. Because again, if you're doing a traditional business plan, it's because somebody's requiring you to do it. So now I want to talk about the lean startup business plan. So this is a 1-pager, you guys. This is for any of you out here, whether you're a new business or not, that unless you're required to have that traditional business plan, this is where you're going to start. Okay, so it is less common, but it's still a standard structure. And it's going to focus on summarizing the most important points or key elements of your business plan. And I did this for my business a couple months ago. It took me less than an hour. It took me a little over an hour once I actually got going. It took me less than an hour, but it took me a while to kind of get going. So this is a great place to start, you guys. It's a 1-pager. So I'm going to give you a few more links in here, you guys. So the first one is the business model canvas. It actually has a name. It was developed by Alex what's his last name? Alex Osterwalder. This is, when you Google this is the most common one that comes up. He's like coined this thing. And then, but in order to get that, you do have to join his mailing list. So here's just a visual. This one's from Wikipedia. This one is going to be harder to actually look at because it's fuzzy because it's just an image off the internet. But I figured I would rather you at least get this idea, be able to see it, than to not want to, get on the mailing list for Alex's. But I would highly suggest that first one. Get on the email list, get that blank template, because this is definitely where you're going to want to start. All right, I need to pull both of these up now because I want to look. So the business model canvas. So if you have the visual pulled up, either one of the ones I posted, you're going to see there's 9 boxes. All right. And the structure, the size and the placement of them are actually standard, no matter where you pull this from. Okay. This one on Wikipedia actually has some explanations within the boxes. If you go and get the template from strategizer.com, it will have a blank template that just has those pictures and then another key that comes with it that says, okay, this is what you want in this box, and this is what you want in this box, and it's a little more detailed. So pick your poison, but we're going to talk about on a high level, those 9 sections. Okay. So the first one is going to be key partnerships. And that is your top left, is if you were reading this like a book, it's that big one on the left side of your page. And so your key partnerships, you guys, are the other businesses and services you're going to work with to run your businesses or your business. Let's go with one, business. So these are your suppliers, your manufacturers, your subcontractors, your contractors, anyone that you have to work with in order to provide your good or service. The next section is your key activities, and that is that top small box, again, when we're reading left to right in the top section. So your key activities. So list the ways your business will gain a competitive advantage. So you're going to highlight things like selling directly to consumers, right? No middlemen, or using technology to tap into a shared economy. So just because you guys know, I am reading this from Strategizer, not reading it exactly, but giving the highlights as they give it. So your key activities are, and if we think back to the traditional that we were talking about just a few minutes ago, this it summarizes a few different sections almost together, right? So key activities. How is your business better than your competitors? What are you going to do to be different? Okay, how are you going to sell your product? Maybe you're in an industry that is saturated. Okay, how are you going to differentiate? The next section in that business model canvas is right under key activities. You'll see key resources. So this is any resources you're going to leverage to create value for your customer. So you're going to think your most important assets are usually staff, right? A good team is going to help you create that value to your customers. Okay, but staff, capital, right? Cash, and intellectual property is another one. Those are really important assets. There is this addition that don't forget to leverage your business resources that might be available to women. If you're a woman-owned business, veterans, minorities, there's a thing called hub zone businesses, all things you can look into and making sure you're maximizing those resources that are available to you. So the next area is value proposition. That's the big section right in the middle of your page. And again, this is going to be a clear and it says to write this as a statement. Clear and compelling statement about the unique value your company brings to the market. So if you go back and you look, so key activities are going to be all the different things you do that create that competitive advantage. Okay, your value proposition is taking all of that and putting it into like almost a mission statement. How is your business serving your clients and bringing value to them through your product or service? The next section is going to be your customer relationships. And in this section, you want to describe how you interact with your customers. Okay, is there an automated process that they go through? Is it more personal? Is it a hybrid of that? Are they able to come in person, or is it all online? Is phone versus email? Outline this part. And a lot of people skip this because they're like, I'll just communicate however people want to communicate. But it's important to communicate to your customers, how best to reach you, right? How do you communicate best so they know how to get a hold of you? Flip that around. Maybe you want to communicate with your clients in a way that best serves them. All right. So maybe you have a clientele that really, really wants to do in-person stuff. So that's the avenue you're taking. A lot of times your business is going to dictate this as well, right? If you're an online business, in-person communication isn't really a thing, right? So a lot of times your business model is going to dictate how you relate to your customers and how you communicate with them. But it is a part of your overall business model, hence why it's in this section. So let's go under to channels. So right under customer relationship is channels. This is the channels that you're going to actually use. This is why it's under customer relationship. So customer relationship is how you're going to interact, automated, personal, in-person, online. And this is the whole experience start to finish. Your channels are the how. And you can do mix of channels, right? And you're going to optimize them. So maybe you're like, we do everything via email. Everything is via email. That's how our customers want. We have this automated process that we talked about in the customer relationships segment that automates that communication with our clients. But then you realize that they don't want the automation. They want the personalized response, right? And so you can optimize things and you can move it as you go along. All right. It's always going to be changing. And we're going to talk about that in a second at the end, how this is a living, breathing document. So your channels is the most important ways you'll talk to your customers. So that's why it's right under customer relationships, because those two kind of go hand in hand. All right. The next part is your customer segments. Who's your target market? I don't know if we've talked about this in here, but your business, your product, your service isn't for everybody. And if you try to market to everybody, you're not going to hit the nail on the head. Okay. So find your niche, find your target market, and that's where you want to hit hard when you're marketing and trying to build your biz. So the last two on the bottom, you got cost structure and revenue streams at the bottom of that template we were looking at. So cost structure, you're going to pay, are you in the business of reducing costs or maximizing value or something else, right? Define your strategy. So are you just trying to price match or price beat, right? And that is a cost structure. That is a strategy. Think Walmart, their lowest prices, right? Maximizing value is maybe you're not the lowest, you're not the highest, but for what you charge, you get a lot of value for that price. Okay. And then there's, a cost structure could be kind of, I don't know the word for it, but like branding, right? You charge a premium because you give a premium service. They're buying a brand. So what is your strategy? And then list the costs that are associated with that structure that you're implementing. And the last one, you guys, is revenue streams. Explain exactly how your company is going to make money. Okay, is it direct sales? Is it through membership fees? Do you sell advertising space? If your company has multiple revenue streams, make sure you list them all. So maybe, maybe you provide, maybe you do tax services, right? You provide tax and accounting services in person, one-on-one, but maybe you also have an online education platform. Okay, those are two different revenue streams. Maybe you have an Etsy shop, but maybe you have a t-shirt revenue stream that is blowing up, but maybe now you want to start, water bottles. You could consider those two revenue streams. It really depends on how detailed you want to get. All right. So that is the lean, lean startup business plan. And this is where I absolutely recommend you guys start. It's a way to get your business plan in place without, taking days or even hours. It should take you an hour, maybe a couple hours, depending on how much information you need to go dig up. Now that your business plan is ready, what do you do now, right? So again, remember that your business plan is your roadmap to get from where your business is to where you want your business to be. So you should make sure that you're referencing your business plan regularly and make sure, are you on par? Are you, to reach your goals? Are you staying on track? Is there something that interfered, i.e. coronavirus, that has set you back? Did something blow up way bigger than you planned and now you're ahead of your roadmap? You're farther than you thought you'd be. And keeping in mind that your business plan is a living document. It should be constantly updated if your goals or your plans change. If you had a business plan, I had a business plan that I set up for when I told you I took a loan 3 years ago. And then at the beginning of this year, I did a quick one like this. I did the lean business plan. But you guys, now this is completely different. Our business has changed. We've shifted a lot of our revenue streams. We're pivoting. We've talked about pivoting. And so it's time that I revisit my business plan and figure out how have we pivoted? How does my business plan change based on the changes we've implemented in our business? I just can't stress enough how important this is to continue to go back. Okay. So I would suggest revisiting it at least like quarterly. When you look at your financials, if you review your financials on a quarterly basis, which you should be, include a revisit or a review of your business plan and see where you are and see if your business plan and your business now is on par with what your business plan says you were supposed to be doing. All right. And if not, it's time to revise it. Okay. So many existing business owners think it's not necessary to revisit a business plan hey, I did this for my loan officer. That's all it was for. I don't need to look at this again. But again, it keeps you on track to hit your goals. All right, you guys, my business didn't start gaining traction until I started using the business plans that I created and revisited and adjusted every year as my roadmap. And again, things will adjust, things will change. That's why this is a living document. It's not set in stone. Man, if I went back and looked at my business plan from 3 years ago when I gave it to the SBA, I can't even imagine how much different my business is now than what I thought it would be now. All right. So it's so important that you keep going back to this. All right. That's it. Thank you for joining me today, you guys. We have one more part in this new business series next week, and then we'll move on. And don't forget, Wednesday here at 2 p.m. Mountain Time, we have our weekly tips and tricks. And then Friday, we have our Q&A and update here at 2 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. One last time, you guys, if you prepare your own tax returns, please, please, please go check out my workshop. Cart closes tomorrow, and I do not want you guys to miss out on this. It's awesome. So thank you. Have a great Monday. Have a great week. And I will see you guys Wednesday afternoon back here. Have a good one. Bye, guys.